Okay, so yesterday, whenever I started to record this video, or whenever I tried to record this video, I failed miserably. I could not do anything right. I am hoping today is a better day as far as recording this video because I am getting tired of trying. Anyway, welcome to Books of Blood. My name is John, and welcome to week 4 of Horror Mayhem. Horror Mayhem is created by the Bookish Bryants, Scott and Becky. They are the main host, and they have got a bunch of us other booktubers and horror booktubers together as co-host, including yours truly. All right. So, folk horror, I said that I was going to read something from A Walk in a Darker Wood, but instead of reading something and reviewing it, I found 2 poems, and I thought that I would read those poems to you, or for you, or whichever one you want to call it. They're both by Chelsea Arrington. The first one is called Jenny Greenteeth, and the second one is called Of Blood and Flowers. I'm going to go ahead and read the second one first. It is the longer poem, and I've got my page marked. I got my Wicker Man bookmark. So how's that for some folk horror right there? And I've got natural sunlight coming in, because folk horror is also known as daylight horror, because a lot of stuff in folk horror takes place in the light of day. Look at the Wicker Man. The original Wicker Man took place in the light of day. 90% or maybe even 95% of that movie took place in the light of day. Midsummer, same thing. In fact, I think all of Midsummer, except for maybe the opening scenes and maybe a few others, took place in the light of day. The Witch took place in the light of day. It's just that the light of day was very bleary, so, or for the most part. So anyway, I'm going to shut up and I'm going to read these poems. Alright, so the first one is Of Blood and Flowers. And hopefully I can get through this without stumbling over every single word. The wood was deep and dank and dark. The wood was wet and damp. I did not see the darkening sky as I trod into the depths that day. The wood held pleasures I had not known. It smelled of roses and moss. I walked along the path until I had to stray away. Into the depths of darkness I walked, into the scent of death. Into the pathless land I trod, unaware of gore or guile. Into a green web of desire I went, into a country of lust. The wood was deep and dank and dark. The wood was wet and damp. A child of woman I was, a woman so rare and strong. She was a woman of fire and blood. She gave me her name and her mantle, and set me on the road to hell. She sent me with her sweet kiss with sickly butterfly vanilla flavors. She set me on the road to hell to reprieve her of her past. She gave me bread, cakes, and ale. She sent me into the wood. Upon my head she placed a hood, upon my shoulders a cloak. The wood was deep and dank and dark. The wood was wet and damp. Do not stray, my little one. Do not wander in the wood. Beware of man and wolf, my girl. Do not engage beast or bird. Speak not to angel, troll, or tree. Gaze not upon flower or pond. For the devil he lurks in every heart and wastes upon every maid. He seeks your soul and longs for your flesh to dance with him below. She smiled a knowing glance, she gave a knowing nod. I thought she loved her daughter that day, I thought she loved me still. Yet I, her girl, she gave away, she sent me unto hell. Into the deepest wood I went, into the darkest place. The wood was deep and dank and dark, the wood was wet and damp. Yet I had no thought of fear, despite my mother's words. I had no thoughts of wolves or thorns, the path led me through the dark. To my mother's mother I walked that day, to give her my prayers and bread. To my mother's mother I fled that day, she who was my only comfort. My grandmother held the earth in her hand, she held the heavens too. She sang of sweet wonders of life and grief, and gave me her heart's love. My grandmother sang the love songs of earth, she sang of the trees and the sky. She sang of the love of man and God, she sang of the sea and the wind. She was the love of my soul, she was the love of my heart. She knew the secrets of plant and pain, of stars and moon and dreams. She was the love of my soul, she was the love of my heart. The wood was deep and dank and dark, the wood was wet and damp. Upon that day I walked to her from the path. I heard the song of her soul in my head, yet the flowers were much too bright. The flowers upon the ground, they also sang a lovely song. They knew my name and called to me. They cried out with their scent and beauty. The wood was deep and dank and dark. The wood was wet and damp. I heard the voice of my mother, yet knew her to lie and tease. Her face full of scorn I saw in my mind, and knew that she was blind. Her youth and beauty were spent, squandered on lovers and wine. My father had used her and left her to bleed and maybe to die. She did not remember the romance of youth. She did not speak the language of flowers. Her dreams were hoary, frostbitten, and dead. Tears turned to ash in her eyes. She could not hear the song of my heart, the poetry of my childish soul. At her warnings I scoffed as I ran off the path. Her commands I waved away. Who is she, this whore and scold, to keep me from the deep? Who is she who'd seen the world to tell me I could not see? Her face and fears I swept away. I laughed and kicked at the dirt. She was home, she was not here. She could not direct my way. The wood was deep and dank and dark. The wood was wet and damp. The sun shone not upon my hands, not upon my brow nor feet, but illumined only the flowerets, the gold and red and violet. Colors of blood, colors of life, colors of the sun and sky ablaze with fire. I laid my red cloak upon the ground. It could not shield or mute me. She wanted to hide me, to keep my colors dark, yet she gave me a scarlet cloak to hide the child, a scarlet cloak to mask my glow in the deep dark wood. My hair a similar hue, red and gold, a halo of flame, upon my head did grow. Be quiet and stay upon the path. Speak not to beast nor man. Keep down your head, avert your gaze. Do not look into the eyes of flowers. They will lead you straight to hell. Yet flowers, such a heady scent had they. Their perfume enticed and seduced. So among the profusion of flowers I lay, among the bed of flowers. Upon a bed of licentious flowers I lay, and breathed deep of their rich scent. My hands were white among the rod, the scarlet and the crimson. My hands, as in prayer to some pagan god, my hands open to receive. The wood was deep and dank and dark. The wood was wet and damp. The shadows moved, the air was still. I lay and breathed deep of the wood. I felt his presence drawing near. I smelled his musk and power. He looked down at me and smiled a smile of secrets unknown to me. Man or beast, I knew not which lay upon my body. My hair filled his hands, his breath filled my nose, his golden eyes engulfed my soul. The hair on his chest was thick and black, carpeting my snow-white breast. His voice growled within my ear, a deep and throaty sound. Then there was blood and blood and blood. Then there were scarlet waves. My eyes saw red, I smelled earthy wine, and felt the darkness of death draw near. Within my darkness he planted seeds of crimson flowers. The wood was deep and dank and dark. The wood was wet and damp. When I awoke, the sun shone down upon my bed of flowers. Red rose petals adorned my face, my hair, my hands and feet. Blood-red petals adorned my cheeks, my thighs, my breast, my wrists. Along the path I trod that day, along the path to Granny's. The sun was bright and dappled, gold upon the well-worn path. My grandmother lay dead in her bed, in a bed of blood she lay. Her thighs were open, her eyes were wide, a smile played upon her lips. Her death and pleasure, pleasure and pain, she died with secrets in her soul. The wood was deep and dank and dark. The wood was wet and damp. My mother, she is a grandmother now, and she lives in the deep dark wood. She sings of the moon and the trees and the sea. She sings of the sky and of God. She sings the love songs of earth and waits for my daughter to come with bread and cakes and ale. She waits in her bed for the blood, dreams to flow once again. The wood is deep and dank and dark. The wood is wet and damp. That is Of Blood and Flowers, and that is by Chelsea Arrington. All right. And I've actually never read that poem before. That was my actual first time reading it myself, so there you go. Alright, so the next one is a short poem. It is only a page long. It is also by Chelsea Arrington, and this is called Jenny Greenteeth. Alright? Dear children, dear children, come play in my pond. Be sailors in search of new lands. Be fairies and witches with sticks for your wand. Come children, come give me your hands. My name's Jenny Greenteeth. I'll take you below to my home in the swampy green muck. I'll tell you a tale all good children should know and give you a penny for luck. Ignore my green hair as it snakes around you. Do not fear my slimy black claws. My hideous pallor of green and of blue should not give you more than a pause. I'll cradle you close in my ghastly thin arms and sing lovely songs to your bones. You'll never tire of my elegant charms or how my voice cries and moans. So come to my pond, my sweet darlings dear. Come wade in the depths of the green. I see your curled heads, your souls drawing near. Come to your new mother and queen. And that is Jenny Greenteeth, also by Chelsea Arrington. So that is going to do it for Folk Horror Week, or my contribution to Folk Horror Week. I hope you enjoyed my reading of these two poems, and I shall, until next time, tell you to take care and stay scared. Bye-bye.